Dracula has arrived. Dracula is looking to be reborn ever since his castle was destroyed as a result of his battle with Christopher. 15 years later, a ceremony is held honouring Solyu, the son of Christopher, who will be the next vampire hunter. Dracula has been waiting for this time because in order to return to Earth, he must use the power of Solyu. And why is that exactly? The next day, 4 castles appear while Solyu disappears into the fog. Oh fuck, there's more. And now, a new battle must begin. Come on. Castlevania 2, Belmont's Revenge. Not to be confused with the NES title, Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. That's a different game. Right, so Castlevania 2 Belmont's Revenge is the sequel to the first Castlevania Gameboy release, the Castlevania Adventure, and is a vast improvement on that as well, because Adventure was a great game in its own right, but it kind of failed in what it was trying to do. It was trying to emulate the authentic Castlevania experience that we were used to on the NES, and it was trying to transform that onto the Game Boy. Which several other series tried to do and also suffered from this. I remember that the first 2 Mega Man Game Boy games were pretty dire until they finally sorted it out with number 3. And it's funny I should mention Mega Man actually, because in Belmont's Revenge has used the Mega Man formula here. You choose your route through the game with a choice of 4 castles. And if there's anything better than 1 castle, it's got to be 4 or 5 even. Which is better than just having one other castle, which is an exact replica of the first castle, just inverted. Because that's a crap idea. So using the Mega Man formula, you trek through the 4 castles in your preferred order before taking on a multi-stage finale at Wily's castle. Oh, I meant Dracula's castle, of course. I think I would have liked it if Castlevania continued down this Mega Man route. It could have been quite interesting, but they decided to rip off Metroid instead. Yeah. So when you do pick your castle, you're presented with a little screen showing Chris here walking very slowly towards his destination. I love those little screens actually, they're quite cool. Actually, sorry, I've got to get something from the shops, bear with me. Sorry about that, where were we? So we're now playing with a slightly improved Christopher Belmont from Adventure. He's a little quicker and easier to manoeuvre this time, and he's got a few more tricks up his sleeve this time around. He can actually use a few of the classic Castlevania sub-weapons. Another vast improvement is the level of difficulty. Adventure was a really hard game, but it was unfairly so, involving ridiculous pixel-perfect precision and timing in several situations, and putting you in really unfair situations, even quite early on. Belmont's Revenge is a hard game, in traditional fashion, yet it's firm but fair, if that doesn't sound too ridiculous. One of the very first things you'll notice when you start this game is the soundtrack. This game has got some tunes. Have a listen to that! It's incredible that such a limited sound card has produced one of the finest soundtracks to date, yet unfortunately these amazing tracks have yet to be heard again in other Castlevania titles. Madness, I tell you. We've heard Vampire Killer and Bloody Tears and at least a dozen other games now, but none of these have ever been touched on. Bloody Tears. I'd love to hear some of these songs redone. The game's visually pleasant as well, with some really nice level designs and backgrounds. Not bad to look at all for a console using about 4 different shades of grey. The stages are quite lengthy as well, but they don't seem to drag on at all. In fact, it's quite hard to find a fault with this game. I suppose the speed, or in fact lack of it, can turn some players off. Chris seems to suffer from the same problem as many other Belmonts, where his boots seem to weigh him down. He sort of trundles more than trots, and in fact, if you take a close look at his walk animation, you can see that his feet never come off the ground. And with some enemies jumping all over you at literally twice your speed, I can understand being there some concern. Another cause of great stress is the claustrophobic lack of space that crops up several times in the game, and to add to that, your jump can often land you in, well, death. This is one of those classics where once you've started a jump in a particular direction, you can't change it. A ghouls and ghosts kind of ordeal.
Don't ever go at Chris about it. I'd like to see you change direction in mid-air. I mean, you know, I can, so... Well, I can do it.
So it's quite slow, and strangely that adds to the difficulty in this case, taking on nippy enemies wearing concrete boots. Yet I still find most of the combat to be quite fun. One thing I enjoy the most about Belmont's Revenge are the boss battles. Some really nice ideas for some of these fights, like the Dragon Tunnel. God, that sounds like a ride at an amusement park or some kind of attraction. Then there's the inevitable confrontation with Solyu. There he is. What's he got to say then? I'm surprised you made it this far. The rebirth of Dracula will occur soon. You cannot destroy me, Father. Right, now watch this, I'm pretty good at this. Have some of that. Well, that's not supposed. Oh, I mean, I'm usually much better than this. Let's just speed this. Well, there we go. Got there in the end. Jesus Christ. So there you have it. After all that's said, I think it's pretty obvious that I hold this game in very high regard. So much so, in fact, that I recommend it as a #1 essential must-have for the original Game Boy. A truly authentic, classical Castlevania experience on a handheld system. But by all means, also give the Castlevania Adventure a fair go. It's still a decent game in its own right, and definitely give the third Game Boy title, Castlevania Legends, a go. But for my money, Belmont's Revenge all the way. Here you go, Dracula, watch this, I'm well good. Right, here you go, you get in this corner here, you duck down. Give him a slap, move over to the right. Oh, no, let's just speed this. Let's just, well, this is taking... And then I die anyway. See, this is why I don't do Let's Play videos. Fuck's sake.